James Carville, the Ragin' Cajun, in a profile by Maureen Dowd in the New York Times titled "The Cajun Who Won't Stop Ragin'." I've wanted him to stop for so long now, but he just keeps
It's
at it.
really overselling.
Yeah,
like it makes you sound like he's going to be like Dr. John or something. He's going to be cooking up a big catfish gumbo in a swamp.
Yeah.
He's just some guy wearing a suit on CNN.
Yeah, he's just still doing politics on CNN. Yeah, he's just talking on the fucking TV. But he's still at it. So we get a little color from James Carville and his colorful life. Maureen Dowd writes, a few years ago when James Carville was teaching at Louisiana State University, he heard that one of his students had gotten into the school of her dreams to work on an advanced degree. He wanted to toast her. I get a $25 champagne and 4 plastic flutes, he recalled. And I say to the students, all right, you're not going to get out of James Carville's class unless you know how to properly open a bottle of champagne. I said, here's what you're going to do. You don't pop it like this. You see in the movies, you're going to poke someone's eye out. You take the foil off. Now you're going to take the dishcloth and you're going to execute the classic counterclockwise movement. The bottle is going to go one way. The cork is going to go the other. You just ease it out. And the sound that you're looking for is the sigh of a satisfied woman. The next Tuesday, the dean comes into my office and said, I'm closing the door. We need to have a talk. A female student had complained about the sighing line. Can't even do this at LSU anymore.
So he's giving his students alcohol?
Well, maybe it's a graduate class. I mean, I'm assuming they're of age, but this is Louisiana. Alex. If the Ragin' Cajun can't get his students drunk and make jokes about pussy popping, then what has this world? And I'm agreeing with him here. I think he's only getting in trouble because the type of person that would voluntarily take a class taught by James Carville has got to be the most annoying the most annoying rats on the planet. So the fact that one of them bit his hand is another scorpion and frog situation, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
It's also like, what the fuck do you think you're gonna learn from taking a James Carville class in 2020?
Yeah, how to have Ross Perot run for president. That was the secret to his success.
He's just like, you have to triangulate on issues. Okay, you're the only guy that could tell me this. You have to be a real dope to sign up for that class.
But he says here. He said the dean said a female student had complained about the sighing line. He wanted to mutter to the dean. Her boyfriend never heard that sound, but he simply said, okay, I'll endeavor to do better. I love this, Maureen Dowd is giving him an opportunity to actually do the George Costanza thing where it's like the jerk star called and they're out of you. After in the moment, he's like, well, I wanted to say something cool and funny, but I slunk away like a coward. But now I'm going to I'm going to get the chance to pop off to this dean, this crusty old dean, in Delta House style. I bet her boyfriend never heard that sound. But this is the Ragin' Cajun we're talking about. So do better really meant go further. He says, I went back in the classroom and I told the Gilbert Gottfried joke from the Aristocrats, Carville continued. I said, girl, you wanted to get me in trouble? This is what you do when all is lost and you're up against the wall. Of course, it's the grossest joke ever.
That's like a 20-minute joke.
Yeah. You remember Gilbert?
I remember.
Gottfried? Yeah. He talks about fisting a baby in that joke, I think.
Yeah, he had a great career. He was some of the most offensive shit anyone's ever said ever. And somehow he kept getting these radio jobs. Like he was the Aflac guy. And then he got fired from Aflac for making jokes about the Fukushima tsunami thing.
Yeah, remember
that happened like 10 different times. Like he used to be the spokesman for Miracle Whip, and then he got fired for something.
Yeah,
I think it was for something about like Pee Wee Herman jacking off that he said on TV.
he was in all those that type of like gas station movie, like Kung Fu Panda and shit like that.
If they asked him to do it, he would say yes.
Yeah, he was in all kinds of movies like that.
Yeah, the parrot from Aladdin, and then also like. You just said so many things that I could not repeat here.
My favorite is in the Aristocrats. It shows a clip from where he did the joke at Hugh Hefner's roast, which took place a week after 9/11. And his first joke up there is he gets on stage and says, I'm sorry I'm late. My flight missed its connection at the Empire State Building. Which is very good. But Carville continues, this was LS freaking you, not Oberlin, he said. It was terrible. I wouldn't take the co-eds to dinner after class. I would only take the male students. I was scared to death in my job. I was like, I don't need LSU's money. I don't need to drive up there and listen to that crap. I just said, that's it. I'm done. This is not for me. So it's back to television for the Ragin' Cajun. He's so
Yeah,
full
when
of
you,
rage.
for those girls.
When you're that closely associated with Bill Clinton, people
Yeah.
do give you a little more scrutiny to stuff like giving women a third of your age alcohol. People start to give you the side eye a little bit, like what's up, man? And they're kind of right to do that.
And back to your point about the raging Cajun. The fact that he hasn't strangled his wife to death shows that this man does not have an ounce of anger in his body. He just wants to tell dirty, bawdy stories in a stupid accent on cable TV. He's fine. He has no anger issues whatsoever. Going on, it says, if you were going to ask me what I'd want the title of the documentary about my life to be, it would be When Politics Was Fun, he said. There was actually a time when people loved doing this. People would go out, they'd drink, they'd talk to everybody, they'd leak stories. Generally, when it was over, you'd go sit with the other side and have drinks together. you'd go sit with the niece of the other side, who's a 17-year-old girl, and you'd have drinks with her and gossip.
So it's all
and
just
leak
drinking?
stories. Yeah, it's just being drunk. That's when
It's a
politics
memoir
is
of just
fun.
alcoholic, a life.
Oh yeah. Oh, politics guys love that. Politics guys think the craziest thing is when you do like shots. Like
Yeah.
John
Or
McCain
smoke a
loved
cigar.
Yeah, John McCain loved that. Oh, I did shots with Hillary Clinton. Well, what else? Was there mutual masturbation or something? Did you guys like randomly attack a passerby? That's all you did? You just did shots? That's what you wanted to tell us about?
But the politics now, Carville said, is filled with hatred and doctrinaire positions. I mean, that is the thing. When you do actually believe in something, it makes it a little hard to play grab ass with the other side. But
Yeah,
that's what,
I can't believe there are
killing
people
Washington.
still saying
Yeah,
that shit.
Yeah.
Like it reminds me of 2010, like the Obamacare era, when you would hear that on MSNBC every day. Like back in the day, Ted Kennedy used to go out to dinner with Strom Thurmond and blah blah blah, and they would kill women together. And then and that was just a normal thing to say. And it's like you're just implicitly saying none of this matters.
Yeah,
none of this matters at all.
Where everyone liked each other at the end of the day because they were all working.
It's about
for the
me
same
and my
thing. Yeah,
me and my fat old white guy friends drinking and having fun.
Yeah, it's an extension of people who are like, I wish Congress would just stop arguing. Like,
I wish everybody would just smile and hug each other and have fun.
like they should stop arguing. Not that there are people who like believe different things. Like it should be a practical one-party state like Japan.
So it says here, Hubert Humphrey used to describe himself as the happy warrior. He said, if somebody said, I'm a happy guy right now, they'd go, what's wrong with that guy? Don't you realize there's evil in the world? There are a lot of good people on the left that would rather lose and be pure because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel superior, Carville said. And
Hubert Humphrey lost.
Hubert Humphrey lost. Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Don't be a loser. Be like Hubert Humphrey. So what? The guy who cried more than anyone?
Yeah, the guy who was like LBJ, but he didn't get stuff done. And he was like, people didn't respect him as much.
But the kicker here is he says that there's a lot of people on the left that would rather lose and be pure because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel superior, Carville said. And that, he said, is how you end up with Dobbs. No, your fucking wife is how we end up with Dobbs, James Carville. Like, I mean, all the people you've been having fun sharing gossip and drinks with have been working to criminalize abortion for the last 40 or 50 years. And your inability to do anything about them because you like them personally is the reason we have Dobbs. Not that like people are angry about, people today now they're so angry about abortion being criminalized. But you see, that's how you got Dobbs. Is that people were angry about this, or like they would rather be pure than I don't know.
Isn't that the most popular issue the Democrats have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like taking a hard line on that. Like what?
Yeah.
Isn't that this guy's a political strategist?
Yeah. Well, listen to some more of his.
Democrats should compromise on abortion right now. That's his argument.
Well, he's saying that like there are people who feel they want to be pure, so they don't make compromises. So that's how you end up with things like Dobbs. And it's like. It seems like the Republicans are the ones that are only pure and never compromise. And it seems like they get everything, or seems like they do a lot better about achieving the things that they'd like to accomplish, like criminalizing abortion. He says here, he thinks Donald Trump's voters see him as akin to King Cyrus or King David in the Bible, a flawed messenger. So it's best to use a biblical narrative about betrayal. We're going to get into some 4D chess Machiavelli shit here. If you say, you dumb son of a bitch, how are you going to ever think of this fat, slimy, rapist, criminal, racist should be president? They're going to recoil, he said. I think Democrats should say, look, you believed in him. You felt like you weren't being seen. You were being culturally excluded, but he betrayed you. You thought he was going to be for you and helping you, but he was really for TikTok and tax cuts for the rich. This is the winning.
That's his message. His message to be Trump is Trump likes TikTok. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm sorry, that's right. That is the correct position to have on TikTok that Trump has, because he says if we ban TikTok, it's just going to benefit Facebook.
Yeah,
which is true, and all the liberals are just on board with that. That's like a normal thing for all these respectable liberals who are just like tut scolding everybody for being on their phones and stuff. Like, oh, we should just ban TikTok. Don't you want to ban TikTok? And that's just fucking insanity. That's insanity to the average person. Like, you're just going to ban an app?
An app that's popular and where a lot of people get their information from. So, like, and especially when you're saying like, oh, it's because of disinformation and that's why we have to ban it. Like, that makes whatever disinformation is on TikTok seem far more credible to people that you're like worried about being misinformed or something. But I want to talk about like the second part of his thing, where he says you thought he was going to be helping you, but he was really for TikTok and tax cuts to the rich. Now, I agree that like the Trump tax cuts are probably these, like next to Dobbs, probably the most consequential piece of domestic policy from the Trump administration. Well, Dobbs happened under Biden, whatever. Yeah, it's the most consequential piece of domestic policy under the Trump administration, and I think the Democrats should do a way better job about like making tax cuts and like when you say people hate corporations getting tax cuts, but here's the problem: to the Trump voters or the people that Carville is trying to speak to, the issue of tax cuts for the rich is never salient and can never be sort of grafted onto a populist culture war kind of message, because they all think that A, they are rich themselves, or B, are going to be rich one day. So that when you say Trump cut taxes and it didn't help you, I don't think like the people who he's talking about think that way.
So his solution to Biden is to run on banning the app that everyone likes, forget about abortion, and focus on the economy.
It's the economy, stupid.
Biden's top issue, the economy.
We get some more like delightful Cajun color here. It says here, he offered a bawdy metaphor about President Biden's shaky approval ratings. When I look at these polling numbers, it's like walking in on your grandma naked. You can't get the image out of your mind. And what I don't get about that is like when you're looking at polling numbers, that's not really an image. It's in your mind. It's just like numbers on a piece of paper. It's like seeing my grandmother's pussy. I can't get it out of my mind.
Yeah, one might say that numbers are one of the things that are definitely not images.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't think he's lying. I think he did see his grandma's pussy. And it does stay in his mind forever because it's coming to mind for stuff that's completely unrelated. It's just an intrusive thought he's had for 70 years.
He's got like a briefcase filled with polling numbers and then just Polaroids of old ladies. He's like, oh, wait, I got my papers misaligned. He also says he told CNN's Dana Bash that Biden, quote, is like a mosquito in a nudist colony. It's hard to pick a target, but you got to pick one and go after it. He ought to tell Bibi Netanyahu to shut his stupid pie hole, Carville added. He's got to understand how much money the United States has sent to Israel during his prime ministership. See, finally, he's talking facts. He's talking sense here. But you got to pick one hole and stick with it. This is what I've always said. And he should stick it in Bibi Netanyahu's pie hole. That's what I agree, and I think that would help him in the polls. But then lately, he has been obsessed with Biden bleeding black male voters. A suspicion of mine is that there are too many preachy females dominating the culture of his party. Don't drink beer. Don't watch football. Don't eat hamburgers. This is not good for you. The message is too feminine. Everything you're doing is destroying the planet.
Joe Biden is the opposite of that. That's the entire thing we're doing here. It's the cool guy with the Mustang who talks about the 70s and how we used to be macho and cool and he loves barbecues. That we're already doing that. Like, we don't have Elizabeth Warren as president.
Yeah. They got Obama involved specifically so we could do this. Like that was the entire point. It was a guy who predated all of this, and you're never going to have to hear about the news. And he sucks dick at doing that. There have been more articles than ever. There's a fucking article about a brain podcaster who cheated too many times. That's not less articles.
He's supposed to be blue collar Joe from Scranton. And we're like, I guess he's not blue collar enough. Like, who are we supposed to get? Who is the guy we're supposed to have? Who is the ideal candidate that we need? The blue collar guy who's more blue collar than Joe Biden. Who is that?
Like, I understand, like, there's sort of like a cultural stereotype about liberals that they're sort of scolding and sanctimonious. They're like, oh, don't watch football, don't eat hamburger. But like, who in the like official Democratic Party media apparatus is making the case for no burger, no football?
Yeah, I don't know. AOC, I guess. But that's sort of become polarized in the opposite direction now.
Yeah.
Where you have a lot of people on the right who are turning against sports.
Yeah.
Where it's too black and it's too woke and people kneel and it's like the bread and circuses and men should be, out in the woods chopping down trees and doing jujitsu and masculine endeavors and listening to the neuroscience podcast.
They're also getting burger is also on the chopping block because you can eat burger just as long as it's not cooked or have a bun to hold it together. Burger is still okay provided it's raw. I just want to get to the end here, though. He says he disagrees with Democrats who claim there's been too much attention on Biden's age. If you do a focus group, he said, the first thing out of anyone's mouth is old. So how do you say we're going to act like this doesn't exist? So, I mean, once again, he's not completely out to lunch here. But he also says, he said most of the criticism of Kamala Harris is misogynistic. Dude, a paragraph earlier, you were saying that the message was too feminine and woke. And now you're saying criticism of Kamala Harris reeks of misogyny. He says, but added, she reminds me of this great baseball player. He got arms that big. Can't wait to see the guy. He takes 3 pitches and walks back to the dugout.
What?
I don't. Yeah, that was his summary of Kamala Harris is that criticism of her is misogyny, but also she's like the Yankees line up in the playoffs, just 3 swings and then they walk back to the dugout.
Well, she doesn't walk back; they shuffle her away.
She dances.
They limit her exposure on purpose, and I wish they wouldn't. I wish she would be president. I want her to be the next president. It would be so fun.
Yeah.
She's been awesome lately.
Did you see her dancing in Puerto Rico to the song that was officially about Yankee imperialism? And her interpreter had to tell her, and then she was like, immediately stops doing her little Kamala Tribe Called Quest. Tupac.
We could have that every day for 4 years.